UFC's back at the Apex for another lackluster card, but we got the TUF finale, and there's actually a couple good fights on it. And as always, plenty of money to be made. Let's get into it. First fight of the night, we got Edmen Shahbazyan taking on Gerald Meerschaert. Edmen is 13-4. That is 6-4 in the UFC. GM3 is 36-17. That is 11-9 in the UFC. Edmen has lost 3 of his last 5, but has also won 2 of his last 3. Meerschaert has also lost 3 of his last 5, but is coming off a win back in March. Edmen's still only 26 years old. Meerschaert is 36 years old. So, I'm going to ride with Gerald Meerschaert here, taking a flyer on him, plus 260. He's got twice the amount of UFC experience. Edmen has not beaten a fighter currently ranked under contract with the UFC in the last 5 years. Gerald's got 34 of his 36 wins by finish. Edmen's been finished in 3 of his last 4 losses, including his last 2 losses. The odds are just way too far apart for me. Got to take a flyer on Meerschaert there. If you guys are looking for anything else to take, there's really not any plus money fucking props that I'm willing to take on this. But if you're looking for some parlay pieces, we got Shahbazyan by KO minus 125. 4 of his 6 UFC wins have come by KO, and 11 of his 13 career wins have come by KO. Also, Meerschaert has been KO'd 4 times. The over 1.5 is minus 130. Edmen's hit it in 4 of his last 5, and 6 of his 10 UFC fights have hit it. GM3 also hit it in 4 of his last 5, but only 10 of his 20 UFC fights have hit it, so a little risky. And if you want something super safe, fight does not go the distance. It's minus 500. 8 of Edmen's 10 UFC fights have not gone the distance, and 16 of Meerschaert's 20 UFC fights have not gone the distance. It's 80% combined. Next fight of the night, we got Michael Morales taking on Neil Magny. Morales is 16-0. That's 4-0 in the UFC. Magny is 29-11, 22-10 in the UFC. Morales is undefeated, so he's obviously won 16 in a row, 12 of those coming by finish. Magny's won 3 of his last 5, and both losses came to top 7 welterweights. Morales only 25, Magny 37. I'm taking the over 1.5 rounds here. It's minus 300. I'm going to parlay it with something. I'll get to that later. Morales has hit it in 4 of his last 5, and 3 of his 4 UFC fights have hit it. Magny's also hit it in 4 of his last 5, and 26 of his 32 UFC fights have hit it. If you guys are looking for anything else to take on this, Morales probably wins, so just take him with a prop. Morales by decision, plus 105. Only 4 of his 16 wins have come by decision, but 3 of his last 5 wins are by decision. Also, Magny's lost by decision 3 times, including his last loss. Think he's going to finish him. Morales by KO, plus 180. 11 of his 16 wins by KO, and Magny's been KO'd twice. The over 2.5 rounds, if you want to go a little further, minus 190. You'd obviously have to parlay it. Morales only hit it in 4 of his 16 pro fights, but has hit it in 3 of his last 5. And Magny's hit it in 21 of his 32 UFC fights. That is 66%. Next fight of the night, we got Kaan Ofli taking on, who knows, either Zigomantis Ramaska or Mairon Santos. So Connie's 11-2-1. This will obviously be his UFC debut. This is the TUF finale. He went 2-0 on TUF with a unanimous decision in the quarterfinals and a first-round sub in the semifinals. His opponent, we obviously don't know yet, so I'll just kind of go through both of them. Ramaska's 9-2, got a unanimous decision win in the quarterfinals. Santos is 13-1, got a split decision in a 3-rounder in the quarterfinals. Not counting TUF, Kaan has won 8 in a row, 5 of those coming by finish. Ramaska's won 3 in a row, all by KO. And Santos did win his last fight, but did lose the fight before that to fellow UFC and TUF veteran Dan Argueta. Kaan is 31 years old, and Ramaska and Santos are both 24 years old. There's obviously no lines on this. The fight hasn't even been announced yet, but I kind of like Kaan in either matchup. Both of these guys have been finished before, and 7 of Kaan's 11 wins have come by finish. Going to try and give you some props here, depending on who he fights. If he fights Ramaska, I like fight does not go the distance. Obviously, I have no idea what the odds will be, but Ramaska's only gone the distance once in his in his 11 career fights. And already mentioned, but 64% of Kaan's wins are by finish. And if he fights Santos, I like the over 2.5. Kaan's hit the over 2.5 in 3 of his last 5, and Santos has hit it in 4 of his last 5. Next fight of the night, we got the other TUF finale, Robert Valentin versus Ryan Loder. So Valentin is 10-3 with 1 no contest. This will be his UFC debut, obviously. He went 2-0 on TUF. First round KO, first round sub. Loder is 6-1. Also, UFC debut, went 2-0 on TUF. First round sub and a unanimous decision in a 3-rounder in the semis. Excluding TUF, Valentin is unbeaten in 5 straight fights, all of those ending by finish. Loder has won 4 of his last 5, and 3 of those went the distance. Valentin 29, Loder 33. I'm riding with Valentin here, man. Minus 125. I'm going to parlay it. He looked like a killer on TUF. Twice the amount of fights as Loder. He was running coach. He was like a coach on TUF, dude. He was running practices. Seems like he has a great fight IQ. Seems very well rounded. And most importantly, he's a finisher. Been high on him all season. Going to ride with him here. If you guys are looking for anything else to take, how about Valentin by finish? Plus 150. 9 of his 10 wins are by finish. Both of his TUF wins were by finish. Only problem here, Loder's never been finished, but still such a short career. He's got plenty of time to get finished, you know. If you guys are riding with Ryan Loder, though, take him by decision, plus 400. Only 2 of his 6 wins are by decision, but his last win was by decision, and his last fight on TUF was a win by decision. Valentin has lost by decision before. And one prop here, you got to parlay it. Over 1.5 rounds, it's minus 250. Valentin has hit it in 8 of his 14 pro fights. Loder's hit it in 3 of his 7 pro fights. Co-main event, we got Angela Hill taking on Tabatha Baby Shark Ricci. Hill is 17-13. This is her second stint in the UFC. She went 1-2 in 2014 through 2015. Came back in 2017 and has gone 11-11. So she is 12-13 overall in the UFC. Ricci is 10-2. That is 5-2 in the UFC. Hill has won 4 of her last 5, and 2 of those wins came to top 15 opponents. Ricci's won 5 of her last 6, but only 1 of those wins came to a top 15 opponent. Hill is 39. Tabatha is 29. A lot of wide age gaps on this card. I'm going to take the over 2.5 rounds here. It's probably the safest play of the night, minus 450. I'm parlaying it with Robert Valentin money line. That is plus 120. Love the value on that. Angela Hill's hit it in 11 of her last 12 fights. Ricci's hit it in 5 of her last 6. You guys are looking for anything else to take? How about Angela Hill money line? This fight is a pick'em, so right now she's minus 108. Dude, she's fought a who's who at strawweight. Her and Ricci are both currently ranked, but she's fought 8 of the other top 13 ranked strawweights, including 3 former champions, if you include her fight on TUF with Carla Esparza. But you want to get Hill at plus money? Just take her by decision. It's plus 125. 4 of her last 5 wins have come by decision, and 11 of her 17 wins have come by decision. And if you want to ride with the other side, take Ricci by decision, plus 125. 4 of her 5 UFC wins have come by decision, and 11 of Hill's 13 career losses have come by decision, including her last 7 losses. Main event, we got the Killer Gorilla, Gerald Cannonier, taking on Caio Borralho. Gerald is 17-7, 10-7 in the UFC across 3 different weight classes. He is 7-3 at middleweight. Borralho is 16-1 with 1 no contest, 6-0 in the UFC, and 2-0 on Contender Series as well. Jared's won 3 of his last 5, but was just knocked out back in June. Borralho's on a 16-fight unbeaten streak, with 8 of those coming by finish. Gerald, 40 years old. Caio, 31. Big age gap again. I'm taking Caio Borralho here, minus 180. I'm parlaying it with the over 1.5 in Michael Morales versus Neil Magny. Gets us plus 107. Dude, Borralho is 6-0 in the UFC. He's been pretty dominant. Finished 2 of his last 3 fights. This is a quick turnaround for Cannonier. He was just TKO'd 2 months ago. He's 40 years old, and he's lost 2 of his last 4. You guys are looking for anything else to take? How about Borralho by finish? Plus 155. 9 of his 16 wins have come by finish. Already mentioned Gerald on a quick turnaround after just being finished, and 3 of his 7 career losses have come by finish. If you guys want to ride with Gerald moneyline, plus 190. He's won 4 of his last 6. His 3 losses at middleweight came to top 4 guys, including 2 former champions. He has 2 wins over former champions in Anderson Silva and Sean Strickland, And he has wins over Marvin Vettori and Derek Brunson, who have a very wrestling heavy style, just like Borralho. So I think there's a path for him to get it done.
I'm worth 100,000 like Woodrow. When a ball call me Wilson, going overboard at the Hilton.